Hello and welcome back to Squirrel Plays. Today we'll be talking about the highly controversial wizard game known as Hogwarts Legacy. Alright, so we're actually going to be talking more about how D&D 5e falls short for me. Last video I talked about how it feels like 5e hates to challenge its players, and this time we'll be talking about how 5e also seems to hate decent storytelling. Though I will go ahead and give you this warning, if you're a fan of Marvel movies and think those are well written, then you're most likely also the type that thinks the average 5e adventure is a good story. Now I don't say that to dunk on anybody in particular, I say it because there is a lot of crossover between the average Marvel film and the average 5e adventure as far as power scales go and asinine abilities. So why do I think 5e hates good storytelling? Well, because it gives the players all the options under the sun to undo good storytelling. In the last video, we talked about how those spells and abilities just completely remove the challenge from the game. Running the challenge isn't the only thing those abilities do. They also run the story. Think about it. If there is no challenge, then what story do you have to tell? Something as simple as going to the grocery store can be a challenge with a story. You have to physically get there, right? Well, what if you head out on a normal grocery trip, you encounter some goblins, you have a near-death experience, then you get hauled off to a clinic for medical care, the local wizard tries some new magic to keep you alive, and ends up turning you into some kind of mutant superhero. All because you just wanted to go buy some Twinkies. But in 5e, you just chill out at home and use Goodberry. No grocery trip needed, no goblin attack, no mutant powers, no story. And now that I think about it, if Goodberry existed in the world of 5e, I feel like a couple of wizards could feed entire villages. No gardening, no hunting, nothing. You could just live wherever you wanted. Anyway, let's have a look at some examples of typical 5e abilities running an otherwise good story moment. I think the one that comes up the most for me is boss fights. Having the party go up against a single entity usually isn't much of a fight, considering there's so many ways to just outright remove the threat from the game, which we talked about before. But from a story perspective, that's really lame, man. You have some dragon terrorizing the kingdom, you get hired to take care of it, you venture through the woods and up to the mountain, you face who knows what along the way, you find some old ancient temple full of traps and undead skulking around, maybe even a giant spider or two, who knows. You go through all of that, and waiting at the bottom of the temple is the dragon sleeping on his pile of riches. You sneak in, prepare yourself for the big showdown, he hears your footsteps and wakes up, you run for cover, and his breath fills the giant chamber, followed by his booming voice.
I can smell you, adventurers. Very brave of you to come all this way and offer yourself as my dinner.
The battle music starts playing, initiative is rolled, and the party starts casting all the cheese spells. Lock him in place, polymorph him, banish him, teleport him inside a f***ing tree, I don't know. Something will work, I'm sure. Not much of a fight. And I know, legendary resistances are a thing, but is that really enjoyable as a player? Do you, as the player, enjoy having the idea to use a spell to save the day and the dragon just saying, nah? I can't imagine it would feel very good. And this is about where people say, well, use minions, my dude. And yes, you can. You can do that. But why would the dragon have minions? What if I want the legendary beast himself to be the entire challenge? The whole story was to go fight the dragon, not the dragon and his clockwork companions or whatever he has chilling out with him. But maybe that's not the greatest example. Let's say you're trying to solve a murder mystery. The king was murdered and everything seems to be pointing to the royal cook. Poor guy has been locked away and is awaiting his execution. You and your friends have been tasked with solving the case before the cook's time runs out. You do some digging, one thing leads to another, and you eventually get a mysterious note one evening. You're told to meet a stranger in the alley next to the inn at midnight. They know who the real killer was. Late that night, you head out to said alley and find the body of a man on the ground. He's been stabbed in the heart and has long since bled out. He's dead, Jim, dead as a box of rocks. You know the cook is innocent, but you just can't find the proof. That messenger was your last hope. With the execution taking place in the morning, you realize you might no longer be able to solve the case in time. Needless to say, tensions are a little bit high. Then one of you is like, "Don't worry about it, bro. I'm gonna hit him with a good old dash of Speak with Dead." So the player steps up, casts Speak with Dead, and the corpse starts to move as though it's alive again. Oh, I'm dead, aren't I? Afraid so. No, I was so close to retirement. Yeah, so you had a message for us? Righto! The Queen did it! Really? The Queen? Yeah, turns out she's a mean old c***. Wanted the king dead for a long time. Got tired of waiting for nature to take its course. And the cook? Totally innocent. Hadn't a clue what's going on. Well, son of a gun. And then the two of you sit there and stare at each other in awkward silence as you realize that not only do you still have 9 minutes left on this spell, you probably just could have used it on the king himself. What would have otherwise been a very upsetting or tense moment has been turned into a meme. And yes, I realize you could say the dude didn't have his mouth or something because that would keep the spell from working. But the incredibly lengthy checklist of things you'd have to go through in order to make this scene work the way you want, and again, purely for the sake of a good story, is just silly. If you were working with an entire party of one, then these spells wouldn't be nearly as offensive. They'd still be absolutely janky in my opinion, but things get really dodgy when you have a party of multiple people, which is what the game encourages. And just as a fun little side note, spells like this are the kind of thing that really get under my skin. And I know it's the writer part of me, not the game player part, but hear me out. Can you imagine a world where people could speak with the dead this easily? Just think about what that would do to the crime rate. And if that wasn't enough, think about the higher end spells that let you flat out bring somebody back to life. There would be no unsolved murders. But again, that's just the writer part of me getting irked that the world Wizards of the Coast has created would never in a million years actually work for a list of reasons longer than every piece of literature they have ever published combined. Getting back on topic though, what if the messenger wasn't even dead yet? What if you wanted a dramatic moment where you got there right as he was bleeding out and only got a couple of words out before dying? Bada bing, bada boom, it's cure wounds. Now he can tell you as much as you want. And this, ladies and gents, is where I realize something rather important. I think I've strayed from critiquing and have just gone on to the point of being negative, which is the opposite of what this channel is supposed to be. You guys know I don't care for 5e, and to be honest, I think a lot of you don't care for it either, which means I'm just standing over here beating a dead horse. It's not exactly productive, so I can't think of a reason to keep on doing it. I was even going to do a third video on this, Where 5e Fails for Me series, about how I think gold has no use. Though looking at the results of the poll I made, I'm not sure there's much point. Most of us seem to feel the same way, and again, I feel like I've gone from criticizing the game to just being a broken record. Now, if I were to come out with a video that said, hey, here's how to make gold be more useful in your game, well, that would be more productive, wouldn't it? And let's be real, love it or hate it, most of us are probably still playing 5e because we have friends that still enjoy it, and we like spending time with our friends. That's the important part. And now that I say it, I should probably put more focus on productive things like how to make a good session 0, or again, how to make your goal more useful. Or maybe I'll talk about that recent article of the vegan player who demanded their GM change the entire campaign to fit their wants. That could be fun. So with all that said, I'm going to open up the floor to you guys. Tell me about a time you had an epic story planned and the players just trashed it by using the abilities the game gave them. Have you as a player ever ruined the moment for the GM? Was it on purpose or was it by accident? Let's have that discussion. But also, let's have a shout out. This video goes to Theo. I haven't done that one, right? Or did I? Don't know. A little while back, he ran a game for a few of us over in the Squirrel Discord, and that was my first introduction to Index Card RPG. And you know what? It was a lot of fun. That game is pretty neat, and honestly, I should probably make a video on it. But also, Theo was a really good DM. He handled things well and made the game run very smoothly. Better than I would have, and if I remember right, I think that was his first time running ICRPG 2. So, doubly impressive. And that's all, everybody. The floor is open to you. Tell me not only how your stories have been broken, but tell me what you do to prevent them from being broken by the players. And if you're a player instead of a GM, tell me how you have accidentally or on purpose ruined a story. Or tell me how you actively try to avoid doing such a thing in 5e. And as always, stay safe, have fun, because that's the most important part of the game.